Let's bring in creator and producer of the documentary Hillary's America, Dinesh D'Souza. Good to have you here, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to be on the show.
All right. Donald Trump holding Hillary Clinton and President Obama responsible for the rise of ISIS, while Hillary Clinton seems to be painting Trump to be unfit to be president. Does Hillary Clinton's claim of having more experience, does this make her more qualified?
Hillary Clinton has been Secretary of State already. She claims to have traveled several million miles. It's very difficult to think of a single accomplishment that she has done. Any trouble in the world that has been made better, not even a peace conference, not even any kind of summit or discussion. All we know is that the effect of all these travels has been to personally enrich the Clintons and swell the coffers of the Clinton Foundation. So if experience is the issue here, it doesn't seem to have gotten America very much.
And we also know this, that the FBI is set to give Congress notes from its interview with Hillary Clinton during its investigation into her use of a private email server in her home. Dinesh, what could we learn from these notes? What do you think they'll reveal? And could an investigation into her private email server be relaunched?
I think the missing element in this whole server controversy has been, what is Hillary Clinton's motive? In other words, it takes a great deal of trouble to do this. People like Hillary get extensive briefings on the nature of classified information. She did this for a reason. I think the reason was that she wanted to conduct a certain kind of private foreign policy for the personal benefit of the Clintons. This is the aspect that has not really been looked into. It's the aspect that was skimmed over by Comey in his kind of infamous exoneration speech.
And I want to get our panel in here as well, Dinesh, but I want to first get to this bit of news as well. House Republicans are detailing perjury allegations now against Hillary Clinton in a letter to the Justice Department saying, quote, the 4 pieces of sworn testimony by Secretary Clinton described herein are incompatible with the FBI's finding. The Justice Department says that it will take appropriate action as necessary, but could there be a potential conflict of interest that's preventing the process from moving forward?
It would have been much better for the FBI to do this rather than the House Republicans to remove any taint of a kind of partisan vendetta against Hillary. Now, I think in a certain way, this is a big investigation into the obvious. Both the Clintons are pathological liars. They lie about the most obvious things, and in some way they dare us to catch them because they dare us to believe that something's going to happen when they do.
But Dinesh, it's Dagan McDowell. If you look at the dealings that we know about involving the Clinton Foundation, paid speeches to the president, who at the same time these entities would have business in front of the State Department. I mean, it's almost by design that these relationships are so complicated, that it's such a morass. It's hard to explain it to the American people, and it doesn't resonate with them when they go to vote.
Well, I think that there's a simple kind of 3-step procedure that the Clintons have followed very dutifully. Step 1 is that Bill Clinton goes in and he gets $500,000 or $700,000, a ridiculously exaggerated speaking fee, which appears to be a kind of a down payment. Then Hillary will modify American policy in line with what the donor wants, and then tens of millions of dollars flow into the Clinton Foundation. This sort of 3-step maneuver is the Clinton modus operandi. You can see it again and again and again and again. And so if it's detailed in an effective way, I think the American people would get what's going on.
Dinesh, are we going to learn anything about the Clinton Foundation's dealings with foreign leaders or foreign contributors before the election that could trip her up? Or do we basically know what we're going to know about the foundation at this point?
Well, I think the information about the foundation is out there. It's in Peter Schweizer's book, Clinton Cash. It's in my book, Hillary's America. I've put some of it, a couple of infamous episodes in the movie. So some of the information is out there. Part of it is that the media, although they reported this story initially, has kind of dropped it. They're not following up on it. And therefore, there's probably a great deal more information to be had.
Dinesh, this is Kirsten Haglund. So I'm wondering, is this enough, right? I mean, we've had story after story after story of Hillary Clinton and everything that's been going on, and then this addition of these perjury charges. to be enough because, yes, she's very much disliked. Her unfavorable numbers are very high, but she's the second highest unfavorable numbers behind Donald Trump. So what is this going to lead to in November? With either one of them getting elected, they're both going to be so unfavorable for the American people. I mean, what do they do? When are we going to see the straw that breaks the camel's back with Hillary?
You know, oddly enough, I think at this point it is sort of Trump's election to lose, and that seems like an odd thing to say. But what I mean by it is that if Trump can sort of cross a certain minimum threshold of saying to the American people, you know what, I may be an outsider and I might be sort of over frank at times, but nevertheless, I am a fundamentally sensible guy and I can be trusted with domestic and foreign policy. I remember from the late 1970s that Reagan was accused of being a warmonger. He's crazy, he's inexperienced, he'll blow up the world. And the moment Reagan was able to sort of convey to the American people, I'm not the guy that my critics are painting me out to be, there was a massive shift toward Reagan in the very last weeks before the election.
Do you think his speech did that, helped people to see him as more sensible? Because he hasn't been winning the sensibility argument lately. Do you think his speech, his foreign policy speech, did that?
Well, his foreign policy speech is rattling some Republicans because Republicans have been dug in with, you may say, the formula or model of American foreign policy since the Cold War. And what Trump is saying is that those Cold War commitments need to be re-examined. I think he's actually quite right about this. So he needs to show intelligently how he's going to modify American foreign policy. And I think the American people will see that as a refreshing and overdue re-examination.
All right, Dinesh D'Souza, how's the film doing at this point, by the way?
The film is great. It's the top political film of the year. It's already in the top 10 political documentaries of all time. Michael Moore has been kind of the king of this genre, so I'm glad to be giving him a run for his money.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Dinesh